Jesus Christ. Oh my god, that hurt. What's going on, my pretty pandas? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and again, it's happening. It's happening. I don't know why it is that it's happening like this. For those of you who noticed that my gaming videos are coming out earlier than the rest of the week, it's because of the freaking construction. So this video was supposed to be out at 10 a.m. EST, but there was construction work going on from 8:30 in the morning until now, which is like a little past 1:30. So yeah, that's why this video is late. Just wanted to let you guys know why it is the way it is. But welcome to another episode of Psychologically Gaming with your host, Ariel Didint. Why am I? No, I shouldn't do that. But welcome back to another episode of Psychologically Gaming, where today we are going to dive into the main character from Layers of Fear. Now, as a lot of you guys know, or maybe do not know, this game is a psychological, psychedelic horror game. Try to say that 5 times fast. Layers of Fear is a game about a painter who is trying to recreate his wife. In a sense, that's the vibe that I got from it. It's a very Dorian Gray vibe, okay? I even wrote an article about it, which you guys can find. There's a link down in the description below. But yeah, this game is one of those where he's trying to recreate what he lost. And it's basically where you're diving into the mind of an insane painter trying to finish a masterpiece, his magnum opus, if you will, that he had strived to create. So I have a few links up on the screen that we're going to dive into to psychologically understand this hot mess distress of a character. I also find it interesting that the main character does not have a name, which lends me to think that he has a multiple personality disorder, but that's the weird thing, you know, with a lot of gaming characters, they usually give a name, and I feel like there might be a third game. There was already a DLC called Inheritance, where you are playing from the daughter's perspective. So I don't know, the fact that her father didn't have a name in this psychedelic psychological horror game, A, doesn't surprise me, and B, lends me to think that, like I said, there might be a third game, or there's more to the story than there is being led on. So obviously the first one that I'm going to say is it's not a psychological ailment that he has, but he is definitely on some heavy duty psychedelics. There are several different types of psychedelics that this guy could have been on. The first type of psychedelic that you could possibly go into is serotonergic psychedelics. Now this is the typical class of hallucinogenics like LSD and acid. Now the other type is empathogen entheogen. They're basically serotonin releasers. They give out that good feeling in the brain, which are classified as uppers or certain other classes of drugs that make you have that good feeling. The next one is dissociatives, which are ones that can disassociate you from your body, like LSD, like acid, but they give you different grades of it and everything like that. It's a whole big thing where you have one form of acid and then you have another form of acid that disassociates you from your body, and it's a bigger kind of trip. Just I want to say as a side note, I have never tried any of these drugs, so for those of you who might comment down below, be like, oh my god, she's a druggie. No, I've never tried any of these drugs. The only drug I've ever tried was weed, and it was awful. Now these are certain dissociative types of drugs. They're from the dissociative brand, but not really, because they come via NMDA antagonism, known to produce some sort of psychedelic effect, but not as major as the serotonergic psychedelics, which are acid and LSD. Meth as well, but that's not really a psychedelic drug. Consider mushrooms more of a serotonergic psychedelic than anything else, because you're dealing with a high-class psychedelic instead of an NMDA. So yeah, that's a long explanation of psychedelics that this guy could have been on that could affect his being, his wherewithal, and how he perceived the world while he was painting. And the final disorder I think this guy might have, because he's not really that complicated. He's only on psychedelics, and he has bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is also known as manic depressive illness. It is a brain disorder that causes unusual shifts in moods, behavior, usually a leap from being extremely happy to extraordinarily angry, or extremely happy to extremely manic. Like, there is a lot that goes into bipolar disorder. Now there are 4 major types of bipolar disorder, and not many people know this, because usually whenever someone says, oh, you're bipolar, they don't know the different classes of bipolar disorder that there are. There's bipolar 1 disorder, there's bipolar 2 disorder, there's also symptomatic disorder, which is called synthomania, and there is other specified and unspecified types of bipolar related disorders that are combined with schizophrenia, Different types. Like there's actually a bipolar disorder that's associated with Asperger's syndrome, but that's he does, I mean, he could quite possibly have Asperger's now that I think about it too, because he concentrates on one thing. He's very particular about it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did have it, but then again, there would be a lot in trying to describe him as a bipolar and combined with someone who has Asperger's. That's a lot more complicated than just having bipolar disorder. The type of bipolar disorder I would classify him with would be synthomimetic disorder or synthomania, which synthomania is basically having different types of episodes of manic symptoms, as well as numerous periods of depressive symptoms. As we see in the game, he has different manic episodes in his mind of all these visions and all of these things that he wants to accomplish with his paintings, and then he'll get into these states of depression of where he's like, okay, I can't do this anymore, I just miss my wife. You see that throughout the game progress, even when he is experiencing the first time that he's painting and he has kind of like this ugly representation of kind of like a skull, and then he gets depressed because he can't find the energy to paint anymore. So you really see the synthomania pop out in that instance whenever he is painting the most, and then whenever he has his depressive episodes afterwards. And you experience that kind of intense emotion, which is one of the main signs of having bipolar disorder. There's a construction I was telling you about. But yeah, that was this episode of Psychologically Gaming. I hope you guys enjoyed it and that you got some sort of education out of this. But yeah, if you guys like my face and what I do, be sure to subscribe and stop construction. But yeah, if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell down below because I make videos every weekday. Stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will talk to you all in tomorrow's video. Peace.